the next several classes, we are going to work on something called factoring. Let's start out with the definition of what a factor is. A factor is simply something that multiplies to the given quantity. Something that multiplies to what is given is considered a factor. Factors that you are familiar with is factors of numbers. So if we are asked to list the factors of 12, the factors of 12 would be 1 times 12. That gives me 12. We've got 2 times 6 is 12. We've got 3 times 4 is 12. These are all factors of 12. So finding factors of a number, you've done that before. We are going to find factors of polynomials. We're going to be given a polynomial, and we are going to write the things that, when multiplied together, give me the given polynomial. Before we do that, quick review. Example 1, we are asked to multiply, let's go, x plus 5 times x plus 2. Multiply x plus 5 times x plus 2. We should recognize that this is a binomial times a binomial, 2 terms times 2 terms. When we have that, we find the answer, we find the product by multiplying the first 2 terms, x times x. So we multiply, we add the exponents, and then we multiply the outside terms, x times 2, and then the inside terms, 5 times x, and then the last terms, 5 times 2 is 10. FOIL, first, outside, inside, last. And then we combine up any like terms we have. The only like terms we have are right here, 2x and 5x. Answer would be x squared plus 7x plus 10. That's where we've been. What we're doing now is we're going to be given a polynomial that looks like this. Today we're working on quadratic, degree is 2, trinomials, 1, 2, 3 terms, where the leading coefficient, where this x squared has a coefficient of 1. What we're doing is we're taking this and we want to come up with these factors right here. So notice if I have x squared, that x squared is always going to come from when I multiply the first term together. So when I do like the x times x, and the only way to get 1x squared is to do 1x times 1x. So these are always going to be x and x. Unless this is like w squared, then it'd be w and w, or y squared, y and y. Let's take a look at where this 10 comes from. The 10 is right here. That comes from when we multiply the last terms together. The last terms, 5 times 2, gives me that 10. We're trying to figure out what these numbers are here, so that 5 times 2 is where that 10 comes from. And then this 7x. The 7x is from when we combine the outside and the inside terms, these two right here. When I add x times 2, that's 2x, and 5 times x, that's 5x, 2 plus 5 gives me the 7x. So we're going to be trying to figure out what these numbers here are, here and here. Notice those two numbers, the 5 and the 2, they multiply to this 10 right here. And 5 plus 2 right here add up to this 7. So the rule that we're trying to form here is to factor 1x squared plus bx plus c. So we have 1x squared. All the ones we're doing today, we have 1x squared. We don't know what this b and c might be. To factor 1x squared plus bx plus c, we find two numbers that multiply to c and add to b. C and B are the numbers that are added or subtracted at the end, and the number that is multiplied times the x right here. Example 2, we are asked to factor in part A x squared plus 11x plus 24. X squared plus 11x plus 24. Notice I have 1x squared, so I can use this rule. If that's 2 here, we can't use that rule. We'll look at ones like that soon enough. So in this case, I need to find two numbers. Those two numbers need to multiply to c. Notice c is what's added to the end. So I want it to multiply to c, which is 24, and needs to add to b. b is what's next to the x. Add to 11. We always want to start with the multiply to. There's a lot more things that add to 11 than there are things that multiply to 24. And it's a little bit of a guessing game. We're going to start by guessing something that multiplies to 24. Might take a little bit. 6 times 4. 6 times 4 gives me 24. That satisfies this condition. And then we want to check to see, is there a way to add them or subtract them? Because subtracting is really just adding a negative number. Can we make them add to 11? So 6 plus 4 is 10. That's not 11. And 6 minus 4 is 2. That's not 11. So our numbers are not 6 and 4. You need to come up with something else that multiplies to 24. And again, it might take a little bit of guessing. Let's try 12 times 2. 12 times 2 gives me 24. We want to add them. 12 plus 2, that's not 11. And subtract them. 12 minus 2, that's not 11. Our numbers are not 12 and 2. Maybe we come up with 8 times 3. 8 times 3 is 24. 8 plus 3 is 11. These are the numbers that multiply to 24 and add to 11. To write the answer then, notice when I multiply this binomial, I've got two things in parentheses. First thing was x in each one. So we are going to write this as the quantity x. Leave a little space, the quantity x. And then my numbers were positive 8, so I'm going to put plus 8, and positive 3, plus 3. The quantity x plus 8 times the quantity x plus 3. Part B, let's go x squared plus 13x plus 30. X squared plus 13x plus 30. We need them to multiply to 30 and add to 13. Again, always start with the multiply rule. Let's come up with something that multiplies to 30. Anything that multiplies to 30. 6 times 5. 6 times 5 gives us 30. Add them. 6 plus 5 is 11, not 13. And subtract them. 6 minus 5 is 1, not 13. Those are not my numbers. 10 times 3. 10 times 3 does give me 30. 10 plus 3 gives me 13. There's the numbers. Those are the ones I'm looking for. We go to our factors. and it was positive 10, so x plus 10, and positive 3, so x plus 3. Example 3. Directions again ask us to completely factor. Let's go w squared minus 2w minus 15. W squared minus 2w minus 15. 1w squared, we can use the rule we're working with today. We need to find two numbers that multiply to negative 15 and add to negative 2. Multiply to negative 15, add up to negative 2. First thing that pops in my mind when multiplied to 15 would be 5 times 3. 5 plus 3 is 8. 5 minus 3 is 2. And I want them to add to negative 2. That's okay. Let's not worry about the negative right now. 5 minus 3 is 2, adds to negative 2. There we go. Those are the numbers I'm looking for, 5 and 3. In order to multiply to a negative number, if we're going to multiply to a negative number, that tells me that one of these numbers is positive and one of these numbers is negative. And if they add up to a negative number, the bigger number has to be the negative one. And then go back and double check. Negative 5 times 3 does indeed give me negative 15. Negative times positive is negative. Negative 5 plus 3 is indeed negative 2. So we've got our numbers. Now we write our factors. W, because it's negative 5, we write minus 5. And W plus 3. Part B, let's go c squared minus c minus 42. C squared minus c minus 42. Here we're looking for numbers. Those numbers need to multiply to negative 42. And they need to add to what? I don't have a number here. Remember, if there's no number written, it's understood to be a coefficient of negative 1 in this case, or if it's plus positive 1. Multiply to negative 42 and add up to negative 1. Something that multiplies to 42. Well, we've got 2 times 21. 2 times 21. 21 plus 2 is 23. 21 minus 2 is 19. I'm trying to get 1. That's not going to be it. If you are struggling with your factors, if you're allowed to use a calculator, you can just start with your 42 and just start dividing it. 42 divided by 2. Well, there's our 2 times 21. 42 times divided by 3. 14. So we've got 14 times 3. Add them. 17. Subtract them. 14 minus 3 is 11. That's not it. And just keep going until you find the one that works. Notice 42 divided by 4 does not come out even. 42 divided by 5 does not come out even. 42 divided by 6 gives me 7. 7 times 6. Add them, 7 and 6. Make 13. Subtract them, 7 minus 6. Gives me 1, and I'm trying to get 1. I'm trying to get negative 1, but that's okay. There's my numbers. 7 and 6. 7 times 6 is 42. I need to make it negative 42, so one of my numbers needs to be negative. Adds up to negative 1. The bigger number should be the negative one. Double check. Negative times positive is negative. 7 times 6 is 42. Negative 7 and 6 make negative 1. There's my numbers. So our factors are c minus 7 and c plus 6. Part C, let's go y squared plus 3y minus 18. Y squared plus 3y minus 18. Here I'm looking for two numbers. Those two numbers need to multiply to negative 18, and they need to add to 3. Multiply to negative 18, add up to 3. I would try 9 times 2. 9 plus 2 is 11. 9 minus 2 is 7, not 3. 6 times 3. 6 plus 3 is 9. 6 minus 3 is 3. There's my numbers. Multiplies to a negative, so one number needs to be negative. Adds up to positive 3, so the bigger number is positive. 6 is positive, 3 should be negative. Double check. Positive times negative is negative. Multiplies to 18. Positive 6 plus negative 3 does give me 3. Y plus 6, y minus 3. One more type of problem. What was that? Example 3. Example 4, again, directions, factor. Part A, we are going x squared minus 14x plus 24. X squared minus 14x plus 24. Our two numbers, they should multiply to 24, and they should add to negative 14. Multiplies to 24, we've got 8 times 3. 8 plus 3 is 11. 8 minus 3 is 5. Nope. We've got 12 times 2. 12 plus 2 is 14. There we go. Problem is they need to add up to negative 14. Here they multiply to a positive number. To multiply to a positive number, there's two different ways we could do it. We could have positive times positive. That was like example 2. Or negative times negative is also a positive number. So I need to add up to a negative 14 to do that. I need to make both numbers negative. Negative times negative is positive. 12 times 2 is 24. Negative 12 plus negative 2 does give me negative 14. Factors x minus 12 and x minus 2. Part B, we'll make this one the last one. Let's go z squared minus 11z plus 10. Z squared minus 11z plus 10. Here we need to multiply to 10, and we need to add to negative 11. Multiply to 10. The first thing we would think of is 5 times 2. 5 plus 2 is 7. 5 minus 2 is 3, not 11. A lot of times students will struggle to come up with anything else that multiplies to 10. Don't forget that 1's a factor. 10 times 1. 10 plus 1's 11. There we go. We need to make negative 11. I need both of them to be negative. Negative times negative is positive. 10. Negative 10 and negative 1 do make negative 11. So we've got z minus 10 and z minus 1.